started.
Cold Night from the US. Okay, let's play c4, the English opening. b6, the English defense to the English opening. Okay, let's see, if I play g3 now, which I normally do, he can play bishop g7 right away. So let's develop a knight here first. Interesting. Okay, so I am going to be able to get in the move. I'm going to be able to get in the move g3. And actually, bishop g2 is going to come with some dangerous threats. Okay, so he repairs the bishop, takes it back to b7 where it belongs. This bishop a6 idea is actually an idea in some openings, not in this one, because I had an easy way to defend the pawn, but there are openings where you have to defend it with a piece or make some other awkward move. It's after you've played d4, and you can't naturally defend it with d3 as I did here. But I'm okay with this setup. I got a good diagonal for my bishop. I've got the two knights out, and I have a good diagonal for my dark squared bishop too. The only, I would say, compared to other openings, it's not grabbing as much space in the center. So black gets a fair share of the center here with this kind of sort of a reversed closed Sicilian now. Okay, pinning the knight is not really doing much. Maybe I'll go with a double fianchetto. So just advance the pawns on the queen side and put the bishop on b2 and maybe get some pressure along this diagonal towards my opponent's king. Which I assume he's castling kingside here, but it's not necessarily the case. He could go either way, I guess, from this position. If he stays in the middle, after fianchettoing my bishop, I will just start pushing my pawns through the center. I can push e3 and d4, for example. But basically, I'm awaiting developments. And okay, he did castle kingside, so this is even more appropriate to put the bishop here. Another idea is to get the knight out of the way and play f4. Kind of a more dangerous way to play because it creates weaknesses, but maybe not bad. Maybe e4 first to block this diagonal, and f4 to open up this diagonal for the other bishop. Okay, yeah, now's the time to decide. The other idea would be to push c5 here and try and disrupt the queenside pawns, since I've grabbed space over here. But I kind of like this idea of playing in the center. So e4, maybe even knight d5, and this knight out of the way, and f4. Knight d5 gets the knight off of this diagonal of the dark squared bishop here. And then f4 tries to pry the diagonal open. Okay, so he's hitting my b pawn. Let's just trade it off. I don't want to bother defending it. I don't want to waste time defending it, is the main point, I guess. So he gets his knight there, which is a good post. I will admit that. Hitting this d3 point. So can he coordinate any more attack on d3? No. Well, he gave up his knight, so I guess that's not happening. So I want to take with the c pawn so that I have f4 with the e pawn still intact here. Ah, that's how he attacks it. Okay. That is good for him, I guess. So if I push the pawn, he can take my rook. Okay, I'm going to cravenly defend the pawn for now. Pushing might have been interesting, but I don't particularly feel like giving up a rook at this point, or the exchange, rather. And I need to get the knight out of the way of the f-pawn anyway, so it's not a horrible misuse of my resources to play this way. So f4 immediately, or rook, maybe rook c1 first to challenge his rook on the c file. Don't necessarily want to let him own that c file. So after f4 and takes, rook takes. I have queen to g4, but he has bishop to f6, countering my bishop. So it's not all that impressive. Maybe, oh, I can sack. That's right. So I want to take back with the rook before playing queen to g4. So f4, pawn takes, rook f4. So the knight goes back. And I still want to play f4. It'll give some more scope to my rook, the f1 rook. And if he takes, he can do that. It displaces my queen, maybe, or maybe the queen's okay here anyway. The pawn is still defended by the knight. And if he just moves his knight away, yeah, so he takes there first. So my idea was to take with the rook to get some f-file pressure here. But as I'm looking at this now, I realize he's got queen to, and bishop. Bishop to g5, so I have to take with the pawn. Also, my queen was no longer getting to g4 the way I wanted it. But, well, this is good. This is a strong pawn center here. Well, strong is debatable, but it covers a lot of squares. So now I need to defend on d3 once again. So if I play queen to g3, he's got bishop f6. I have pawn to pawn to e5, takes, bishop takes. So I need to get another piece looking at e5. Maybe the knight. Do I want to drop the bishop back or move it forward? Maybe here is a good square for the bishop. Oh, the bishop is looking on the e5 square. I was forgetting that. So after queen g3, bishop f6, e5 is playable, and the bishop is has to move again. Takes. Bishop has to move. This pawn is loose. It's defended by the light squared bishop. This might still be okay. We'll see how it works out. So Cold Knight is playing a good game here, I think, so far. Okay, the queen can now come and invade along the c file. But I can play queen g3. There's no check, and it's a mate threat. And he no longer can play bishop to f6 because of the pin on the g-pawn. So let's get that in and see how he reacts. Maybe he plays f6, and then maybe I can play e5. A little bit dicey looking. Yeah, f6. So e5, pawn takes, takes this way. I take back, hitting his queen. There's a check here. In general, this seems to look good for me. It's too much for me to calculate. Well, I've got 5 minutes here, but I don't want to sit and calculate. I'm being a little bit lazy. I didn't think that was good though. Well, he's got knight here. Well, that's good. Yeah, you got to watch out for those things. So I can't immediately play something because it doesn't come with check. I need to defend. Need to defend the e2 square so he doesn't fork my king and my queen, which would be embarrassing. Truly embarrassing. I was worried for a second he could take, but the bishop is defending d5. Tricky position here. So if I had calculated, it would have been a waste of time because I didn't notice this move. It helps to calculate, but it also helps to recognize all of your opponent's threats. Okay, so I believe I'm threatening to take on f6. Bishop takes, rook takes. Maybe it's not a threat, actually. There's a threat of rook to c2, actually, pinning that knight, and it can't be easily defended. And the d3 pawn is still defended, and his rook blocked the invasion of his queen. So maybe this wasn't, it was a threatening move, but maybe it wasn't good because rook f2 is a sufficient defense. And now I think he needs to move the knight again to get out of trouble. Actually, rook c2 can be played anyway, even after the knight moves, just to chase the queen away. I don't know if it's good or not. And then that leaves us with f6. So he decides to take here. So after pawn takes, I'm threatening to push d6, forking these two pieces. So he's going to take back, hitting my bishop again, and then I take back, hitting his queen and threatening mate over here. And he can take my rook, but it's not even check this time. So I think he's in trouble here. We'll see. Maybe there's a clever defense. Bishop here, just... Oh, yeah, bishop to d6 is a defense. But I win the bishop in that case. Bishop d6 allows the queen to defend along the side. But moving the queen allows checkmate. Moving the rook to defend gives up the queen. So I think he's losing material at this point. But he was already in a bad way because of the threat of rook to c2, which would have, I believe, won the knight. Well, he's got a minute left. Let's see if he can find a miracle defense. Could be. But the bishop is not hitting on anything but this pawn, which is well defended. The knight can only go to squares where it can be taken. He can take the rook, but that doesn't stop the checkmate. Yeah, most moves are ineffective just because they're not checks and they don't stop the checkmate. So really, a bishop move to clear the path for the queen is probably the main idea. So bishop d6 is probably the best move under the circumstances. And then I could throw in this check and then take the bishop with check and then take the queen. So that would not be good either. Okay, so maybe he's just going to let his time run out while he's looking for a move. Yeah, I don't think there's a move here, so it's not an unreasonable thing to do, to search. It's complicated enough you might want to look around to see if there's anything. But I don't see it. Okay.
Black forfeits on time.
Oh, he finally threw in a move. What was that? Oh, that was just giving up the queen here. Okay, but obviously that's not a great move. So I will upload this game and do a postmortem. See you guys later. Bye.